Hey everyone, welcome back. War number 5 here. We went up against 2-1-1. It was a fun war. I think I had 8 fights this war. We did end up winning this war pretty handily, so that's always fun, right? But yeah, standard team this war. Mr. Fantastic, She-Hulk, and Nimrod. They're just so good at war. I can't say enough about them, all of them. And I do have some thoughts on Omega Sentinel. I do want her. She is I think she's going to be a great champion. Definitely high prestige for a tech, and overall, I think she's high 15,700s at rank 4. But I don't know, like in my opinion, I'm gonna keep putting stones in Nimrod because ultimately I think he's gonna be a better war attacker because he's really just simple to use, and he just wrecks. I mean, he really does. I think he's going to be easier to use ultimately, and that unstoppable is massive. One of the big things that I don't really care for about Omega Sentinel is that her health pool is very small. She has the exact same health pool as Stark Enhanced Spider-Man. And her block proficiency is it's typically like it's like most of the women in this game. 3,000, I think it's 3,000. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do a grind for her. She's not gonna be in this featured from what I've seen. It's gonna be Captain Britain is gonna be the last one. She's gonna be the cutoff. I'm about 95% sure. And I'm actually excited for Captain Britain, to tell you the truth. I think she's going to be slept on. I think she's going to be a really good war attacker, and I think she's got a lot more stuff going for her than initially thought, because I think most are just kind of like, have already forgotten about her and don't care. I, however, am hoping to pull her and dupe her from this next feature. I'm sitting at about 190,000 shards. I want Blade, I want Captain Britain, and so far that's what I got. Anyway, let's get into this war here. So this is the intro, just showing my attackers, and I showed the bands there. I don't remember what it was. You guys will see that in the video. Quake, Corvus, Human Torch, I think it was Human Torch. So yeah, I had 5A this war. Doom on Power Snack, 8B, and then Mangog on the level 2 mini. The level 2 Aspect of Evolution mini. I'm showing my mastery setups every time I change them, more or less. Any significant changes in war. Just so you guys can follow, if you can just see what's going on. I ran an 8% here because generally against Thing on this node, and really against anyone, the way I play it is I don't use specials, especially against Thing because of his protection, and She-Hulk's level 2 always triggers that. So with Thing, I'm always going for level 3. But ultimately, against anyone on this node, Power Stings are doing a lot, if not all of the heavy lifting versus Thing, and most of the heavy lifting against anyone else. So 8% there, and I'm running really low on green boosts, as you guys may have seen in my inventory there. Yeah, this was the first fight, so a little rusty here. I think I get smacked a few times, but that's what invulnerability's for. I missed a parry, yep. That was just bad, spacing. The spacing can be inconsistent against Thing and Mangog and others too, which is kind of annoying. but at the same time, like, you know, it really encourages you to know the champ you're playing. I assume that's the same with anyone as far as inconsistent spacing, not just using She-Hulk. But I'll show you that against Mangog at the end of this video. So yeah, we're just doing power stings here. You know, the level 3 was good because his protection was down. So whenever his protection's down on cooldown, that's when you want to throw your level 3 against Thing. It bypasses. He can't get protection up. And I think the node protection was down. That's back now, I believe. Or maybe, yeah, I think that's down. But yeah, I know, you know, finishing a full 5-hit combo against Thing, I've learned that I mean, finish your 5-hit combo, that's fine, but I don't immediately dex back because the AI likes to throw that level 1 and unblockable at that. And a lot of times it'll catch you if you finish a 5-hit combo and then immediately dex back, it'll like catch you with that unblockable first hit. It's kind of screwy. So I always, if I finish a full 5-hit combo, I always just wait. I sit there and just anticipate that he's gonna immediately throw that level 1 and try to catch me. So I wait and then just a split second and then dex out of it. But yeah, ultimately this fight went well, you know. A few hits in the beginning. I took a few smacks to the face. But yeah, no big deal. You saw me there machine gunning the special activation. Wow. She-Hulk, the lady. So yep, that was pretty much the hardest fight on this first set. Now I had a plan with Maw here. I think I showed my masteries. I think I removed Dex for this fight. It's a tier 1 fight, so the health pool is or the health boost I should say is not much, and Maw already has low health. Yeah, I removed Dex here just because, you know, it's early on in the war. I didn't want to deal with that degen. And honestly, I didn't want to deal with Max MD because I always assumed that Mystics and more are going to have Max MD. I don't even know if he did or not. But you know, better safe than sorry. Just don't want to deal with it. But my plan here was so Ebony Maw, the AI likes to do a lot of medium, or medium light, to where you can't get a double parry in. He'll do that 5-6 times in a row, and you just won't have double parry opportunities. That is definitely really annoying. And so I just assume that's going to be the case with anytime I fight Maw now. So the plan was actually to, and her spacing, first of all, her spacing against Maw, Ebony Maw's heavy, is not good at all. Like her heavy to heavy spacing, you really can't dex back. You won't reach him with a heavy, and I don't even think you have enough time, and you can't dex back light to gain ground and then heavy. Sometimes maybe, but definitely not anything but reliable. So I don't even mess with that. But on this node and the next node, Ebony Maw and anyone, it's heavy hitter, is that what it is? Where they have unstoppable on heavy right there. And funnily enough, She-Hulk has in her kit, bam! I mean, Maw just falls so quick. I did get a few double parries there. You land that first slow and it's pretty much a wrap. And you notice in this video that the unstoppable was up. He procced unstoppable on a heavy. I didn't retaliate even though I had slow up because safe, you know, you see that unstoppable, you're like, damn, like, is he unstoppable? Can I dash into him? Didn't want to risk it. Sure, I could have, but I don't like how that's still there, you know? I wish the unstoppable would go away when slow is up. But anyway, part of She-Hulk's kit is that her heavy will go through any unstoppable no matter what. It's not worded that way, but more or less, that's what it means. She removes the unstoppable, gains sizable passive fury as a result. She is, in effect, unstoppable herself to go through the opponent's unstoppable, but she doesn't proc anything, passive or active unstoppable, which is kind of awesome. It's actually really awesome. So my plan was to just heavy into his heavy straight away, and she would have cut through it. I would have knocked him down, satisfied the ebb and flow knockdown, simultaneously procced a slow on him, and I could have gone to town that way and just taken a hit, you know. But I didn't have to do that. Whoop. And this is, so anyway, yeah. If you guys didn't know that was She-Hulk, you can absolutely do that, and it does come in handy. Like, I like to open fights against Juggernaut just with a heavy, not even a parry or a dex, literally opening heavy, and vast majority of the time, he's aggressive and comes at you with his unstoppable ass, and you just remove his unstoppable, gain a passive fury, take a little smack to the face, but then you just go about your business. So yeah, it's a useful tool. That was just complete destruction against Domino there. I mean, talking about Nimrod, you know, dude owns. I think he's the best. I think he's the best champ in this featured set. For most competitive players that play Alliance War competitively, because he's just so good in War, and he's simple to use. His text is maybe a little confusing at first, but it's really not, you know. And he's just so good. That long unstoppable, it really does save you from so much. It's just like 5-6 second safety net, and it's paused whenever you activate it with the level 2. It's paused throughout that entire long level 2, so you get like a full 5 seconds of unstoppable, and it's rad. It really is. And plus, he does insane damage, clears prowess. So right here, I actually spec Inequity and Resonate. Didn't need to at all. Mr. Fantastic is a bump better with Resonate, and definitely considerably more tanky and resilient with Inequity, because that lowers their attack value percentage based per debuff on them, so with a max of up to 36%, I believe. So yeah, and this all he does. He's a debuff stacker, so you sit there and stack all these debuffs, and you just, I mean, you've neutered their damage, and then if you careful study them, you know, after a couple level 1s, level 2s, it's even further neutering, so like castrated at that point. But yeah, so I spec those just for fun, you know. He's totally capable of doing this node without any of those, without Resonate, without Inequity. And he's also the thumbnail. You know, he only had one fight, but I wanted to load up my pre-fights for my following fights, and or for, you know, teammates on Boss Island. So this is a perfect fight for him. He's incredibly good at this fight against various champs here, a lot of champs, Doom especially. Class advantage, that power snack, even though it's increased now, it doesn't matter. Yeah, he just completely, once you get those 3 debuffs up, the 3 petrify, yeah, you'll see the power snack doesn't do anything. And as I've discussed before, I don't even dex out of his level 1 now. I just block it and hold block, and maybe I get an evade, an auto evade in there. Great, but it doesn't matter. That way you're never triggering a precision buff from dex. So I don't even know if he had MD. But yeah, Reed, man, the guy is really, really good. Bam! Das Boot. That third one was a little risky there, but I was feeling pretty good, so I went for it. He ended up dashing into it. It wouldn't have reached him if he didn't dash. But yeah, so like, what was I gonna say? Omega Sentinel, small health pool, not a robot, but kind of like better than. She won't have the robot tag, so obviously she won't apply to any advantages that robots may get in various quests, nodes, etc. But she takes, she's minus 100%. She takes 100% less damage from bleed and poison, which is really good if you run suicides. I don't, but if you do, that's incredible. And it makes sense, and plus she has a Regan buff. Whenever she would take damage from one of those, I believe she also gains a Regan buff. So if you've got willpower, you're healing like crazy from that, and then also a 20% health Regan buff, I believe. So, but it makes sense when you look at her kit. She's got, 32,000 health at rank 3. Which is Spark, 32,209, I believe. And then her block proficiency is essentially every other woman in the game at about 3,000. Cole Obsidian's is 2,800 for reference. And Cole's is terrible. Modoc's is probably worse than that. I didn't even check that. He's got terrible block proficiency. So yeah, tier 2. This was iBom. I think I miss a parry here. But yeah, iBom, he's not threatening at all. Against the poison immune. She-Hulk especially, because she taunts any of those weaknesses. They don't last long anyway, but she clears them because it's science for science. But those taunts, you rarely have to worry about that level 2 unless you're on like a power gain node or something to that effect, because he's just going to keep throwing to level 1. And if this wasn't a heal block node, you sit there and you take, you just heal. You basically full yellow bar this guy every fight. I don't think he's a good defender. I guess he can be. I mean, everyone's bringing a poison immune against him, or if they're not, then that's just really not smart. Love the power stings. God, I had something else about Omega Sentinel too. She's going to be crazy good on defense. It's almost a certainty. She's got stacks armor ups easily, with repeated basic attacks, which everybody does. So I think you'd have to parry to hit her, parry light medium or parry medium light, or parry heavy, or yeah, she's going to stack armor ups easily, or you're going to time out, more or less. And then after 5 armor ups, the next hit, I think, triggers auto block, which also triggers parry. So yeah, you have to be able to, you got to take an armor breaker against her. She's nullify immune, fate seal, and stagger immune, I believe. So it's basically have to be someone that can either steal those armor ups, remove them somehow that's not nullify, or armor breaker. I mean, True Strike, I suppose, will get around that auto block. Forgot about that. But yeah, she's going to be a pain in the butt. But no unstoppable. She doesn't have unstoppable like Nimrod. I was going to say she can't remove prowess. Unless I'm missing something in her text, she can't remove prowess without a synergy. And I think that synergy has to come from Psylocke or Captain Britain, if I remember correctly. I don't think that it's Nimrod. She has a synergy with Nimrod, but I don't think that's what it does. Her synergy for Nimrod, it's the one that I think we all kind of knew it was going to be that. It's the one where I wasn't at max protocol here, so it didn't shock her at all. But this one does. She definitely takes reduced damage from shock. I don't know if that's in her kit or what. Never bothered to look, but I have noticed that. Maybe it was the weakness. I don't think I had weakness on me. But no, her synergy, Omega Sentinel's synergy with Nimrod is the one where if there's shock immune, then Nimrod inflicts incinerate debuffs instead. But what's curious is that I think the way it reads is that it only applies to the active shock debuffs that he would inflict when he's clearing prowess, because his shock on level 2 is all passive. The shock debuffs come from when he's clearing prowess in Eradicate or Blitz Protocol. So it kind of leads you to believe, I removed Dex for this fight, by the way, as you can see here, for Mojo. This fight was clean. Those taunts, man, they are so powerful. All of it, you know, science, man, science. You know, I've got a combat power rate pre-fight, the Petrify pre-fight. She already reduces his combat power rate by 25% because he's Mystic. Yeah, I mean, she just is so good, you know? Mr. Fantastic just takes her to the next level, for sure. Yeah, no, what I was saying is that, so that synergy for Nimrod, the way it reads is that it's only going to work for active shocks. So if they're shock immune, his passive shock isn't going to turn into passive or active incinerate debuffs. It's they're just going to be shock immune, and nothing's going to happen from the level 2, which is where all that damage is. However, if they have, let's say, prowess, and you're clearing the prowess in Blitz or Eradicate Protocol, instead of shock debuffs, they're going to gain incinerate debuffs. And ultimately what I'm getting at here is that, that's fine. Like, at first, you know, I read that synergy, I was like, man, that's going to be crazy good. Because you're essentially, they're shock immune? Okay, well, he does insane damage on that level 2 with shock, passive shock. Oh, now that if they're shock immune, that's going to be incinerate, passive incinerate instead? No, I don't think that's going to how that's going to work at all. There's a nice 46k level 2 in there. Got me a lot back with that science power back boost, if you guys noticed. But yeah, so like the synergy for Nimrod with Omega Sentinel, fine, unless the text is wrong, and that is in fact what happens, that it turns into passive incinerate or even active incinerate on that level 2. That would be ridiculously good, but I don't think that's going to be the case. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, ultimately, like, I don't know. In my opinion, if you already have Nimrod and you're putting stones in him, his prestige is already really, really good. It's the lower end of 15,700 at rank 4, and Omega Sentinel is the higher end of 15,700 at rank 4. So, yeah, it matters, but you're kind of splitting hairs, I think, because I think, again, we gotta wait and see, but I think ultimately Nimrod's gonna be the better war champ. Because like Omega Sentinel does have access to ignoring miss in her kit, which is amazing, because I think the only other tech that has that currently is Sam Wilson. But her access to get that is a little trickier. It's not as straightforward, I don't believe. I get a little greedy here. I go for another spam heavy after this one, and boom, he gains that level 1 as he's getting up, and that AI did not waste any time throwing it. So that was me getting greedy. Bam! But it's all good. There is a spacing issue that I was talking about early in this video on his level 1 that I dash in like I normally do on Mangog's jump, and then dex back to heavy, but I'm far away right here. Dash in. Look how far away I am. That doesn't. I do it all the time, and that doesn't happen. But it does happen sometimes, but it's rare. But you see how I threw that level 1 as a safety net as he's dashing in. Got to trick that AI. Bam. Anyway, I know there was a lot of talk about the new featured champ coming up, Omega Sentinel, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you later. Peace.